Close your eyes for a moment and listen to the noise of your life, the endless chime of notifications, the underlying panic of the morning news, the heavy, suffocating pressure to be more, achieve more, possess more. We have been sold a massive collective lie. We have been taught that if we can just arrange the external world perfectly, if we can secure enough wealth, perfect our status, control the opinions of others, and eliminate every minor inconvenience, we will finally be at peace. But you already know the truth. The world refuses to be controlled. The stock market crashes, people betray us, traffic delays us, and our health falters. The harder you try to grip the chaos of life, the more it tears you apart. You are left feeling exhausted, anxious, and fundamentally powerless. 2,000 years ago, a man who possessed everything the world could offer, total power, supreme wealth, and command over the largest empire on earth, sat in a muddy military tent on the edge of a frozen frontier. His name was Marcus Aurelius. He wasn't writing a book to gain fame or sell copies. He was writing a private journal to keep himself sane while managing a global plague, economic collapse, and brutal wars. In the quiet darkness of that tent, he realized a profound psychological truth that modern science is only now beginning to validate. Your suffering does not come from the events in your life. It comes entirely from the stories you tell yourself about those events. This is the foundation of Stoicism. It is not an academic theory to be debated in ivory towers. It is a battle-tested operating system for human chaos. It does not ask you to change the world. It demands that you change yourself. And when you master it, you become entirely, completely unshakable. To truly understand this power, you must realize that Stoicism was not built by comfortable academics. It was forged by men who had everything to lose. Look at Zeno, a wealthy merchant who lost his entire livelihood in a single catastrophic shipwreck. Stripped of his fortune, he walked into a bookstore in Athens and began to realize that while the ocean could take his cargo, it could never take his character. Look at Seneca, a brilliant advisor navigating the treacherous, blood-soaked courts of the unhinged Roman Emperor Nero. He had to figure out how to remain morally clean while surrounded by immense wealth and the constant daily threat of execution. Look at Epictetus, born into the brutal reality of Roman slavery. His master physically broke his leg, leaving him with a lifelong limp. Yet Epictetus realized a truth that his master could never grasp. A person can enslave your body, but they can never shackle your mind unless you give them permission. And finally, look at Marcus Aurelius, balancing the weight of an empire on his shoulders without letting the corruption of absolute power rot his soul. These men lived worlds apart, a slave, an emperor, a billionaire, and a bankrupt merchant. Yet, when you listen to their wisdom, they speak with a single, unified voice. They all discovered that external conditions are completely irrelevant to the quality of a human life. The battlefield is not out there in the world. The battlefield is inside your own skull. The absolute core of this philosophy rests on a single, uncompromising principle known as the Dichotomy of Control. Epictetus stated it with brutal clarity. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Think of your life like an archer trying to hit a target. The archer can control how hard they train. They can control how perfectly they care for their bow, how deeply they breathe, and how precisely they aim before releasing the string. All of these things are entirely up to them. But the moment the arrow leaves the bow, control terminates. The archer cannot control a sudden gust of wind. They cannot control a bird flying across the path. They cannot control if the target suddenly moves. If the archer's happiness depends entirely on hitting the target, they are a prisoner to fortune. They will live in constant anxiety. But if their happiness depends on pulling the bowstring back with the absolute peak of their ability, they are free. Apply this to your modern existence. You can control your effort, your preparation, your integrity, and your response to failure. You cannot control the economy, the traffic, your boss's mood, or the algorithms of social media. The Stoic looks at the chaos of the world, separates the things they can control from the things they cannot, shrugs their shoulders at the uncontrollable, and says, "This is nothing to me." To build this mental fortress, the Stoics practice 4 daily mental exercises that turn philosophy into an unyielding shield. The first is Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. Modern self-help culture tells you to visualize success, to manifest positivity, and to ignore the dark clouds. Stoicism tells you to look directly into the storm. Every morning, before you step into the world, spend a few moments visualizing absolute catastrophe. Imagine your car breaking down on the way to a vital meeting. Imagine your hard drive erasing months of work. Imagine the person you trust most spreading a rumor about you. This is not pessimism. It is the ultimate form of psychological armor. Anxiety thrives exclusively on the element of surprise. When a disaster catches you off guard, you panic. But when you have already met that disaster, lived through it, and dismantled it in your mind hours before it occurs, its real-world arrival loses all power to shock you. You don't scream, you don't cry, you simply execute the plan you already prepared. The second exercise is Amor Fati, the love of fate. It is one thing to merely tolerate bad luck, to grin and bear it through clenched teeth. It is an entirely higher level of human mastery to actively love it. When a massive obstacle blocks your path, the instinctual human reaction is to complain, to scream, "Why me?" The Stoic turns this completely on its head. They look at the obstacle and say, "Thank you for this gift." Think of life not as an enemy trying to break you, but as an elite personal trainer. When the trainer adds heavy, painful iron plates to the barbell, they aren't doing it out of malice. They are doing it because resistance is the exact and only mechanism through which muscle is built. An obstacle is not a disruption to your path. The obstacle times the path. It is the raw material given to you to practice patience, courage, and resourcefulness. The third practice is the view from above. When we are trapped in our daily anxieties, our problems seem massive, world-ending, and all-consuming. The Stoic steps outside of themselves. Imagine zooming out from your current room, climbing high above your city, then above your country, until you are looking down at the entire planet Earth from the cold silence of space. Look at the billions of people scurrying around, fighting over borders, worrying about status, crying over temporary setbacks. From this cosmic perspective, your current crisis shrinks down to a microscopic speck of dust. You realize that your problems are not unique, they are not permanent, and they are utterly insignificant in the grand tapestry of time. This realization doesn't diminish your life, it liberates you from the tyranny of the immediate. The final and most potent weapon in the Stoic arsenal is Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. We live our days under the comforting illusion that we have an infinite supply of time. We waste hours scrolling mindlessly through feeds. We spend days harboring bitter grudges. And we put off our deepest creative ambitions until some mythical tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius kept a sharp reality check at the forefront of his consciousness every single day. He wrote to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Death is not a morbid, depressing thought to a Stoic. It is the ultimate clarity filter. It instantly burns away superficial vanities, petty arguments, and trivial anxieties. When you deeply accept that your next breath is not guaranteed, the present moment becomes staggeringly beautiful. The coffee tastes richer, the conversation matters more, and the trivial insults of strangers vanish into thin air. Why waste a single drop of your finite existence being angry or afraid? Stoicism is frequently misunderstood. People hear the word and imagine a cold, emotionless robot, someone who represses their feelings and stares blankly into the void. This is a complete distortion. The Stoics felt grief, they felt anger, they felt fear. The difference is they refused to be governed by them. They did not allow a temporary emotion to hijack their rational mind. True Stoicism is not about eliminating your feelings. It is about building an internal sanctuary so sturdy, so deeply anchored in virtue and reason, that no external storm can shake its foundations. The world around you will continue to be loud, chaotic, unfair, and profoundly unpredictable. People will lie to you, systems will fail you, and challenges will test your absolute limits. But remember this, the world can take your money, it can take your health, and it can take your freedom, but your mind, your character, and your choices belong entirely to you. Guard them fiercely, step forward into the chaos,